Hey there, my name is John Soskovich. I'm in my 1-acre hop yard on the 52-acre farm in western Connecticut. And I bring up Connecticut for a very specific reason, because I'm growing hops in New England, which is inherently, I find, very difficult. There are people who do better than me, but in general, hops in New England suffer a little bit more because they grow better in the Pacific Northwest, and it's just a different area. It's where hops like to thrive. Now, we're going to talk about harvest today. When I talk about harvest, we grow these 18-foot tall plants for one specific reason, and that's for this guy right here. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus right on that. Oh my God, it smells so good. So we grow the hops for these guys. You open up the hop cone. Now we're at the end of July, beginning of August, and there's a yellow powder in there. That yellow powder is lupulin, and that lupulin smells so good. You get piney notes, you get citrus, you get little like grapefruit and orange and lemongrass. Like, there's great flavors in hops that add flavor to beer. And with an 18-foot tall plant with little tiny flower buds that you want to harvest and dry in New England, there comes some difficulties, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, small-scale hop yard. On a large-scale hop yard, I actually got to go see large-scale harvesters, and I'll put a link to, I think I have a large-scale harvester video on my channel way back when, where this was a 3-story building, and there was 1,000 acres of hops, and there was pickup trucks with big beds, and they a lawnmower or a tractor with, instead of the bucket on the loader, had a sickle bar mower, and the pickup truck would drive forward, and that lawnmower would cut the hops, and they would lay down into the bed. Then that truck would drive off, send them out to the picking plant, and then they would go through a complicated Rube Goldberg series of machinery, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to pick all these hop plants off, to work at a scale to make hop growing efficient and more effective and more cost efficient when you're doing it for a commodity, for an ingredient for a manufacturing process like brewing beer. So when you're growing hops at a small scale, you're competing with that. You know, you're competing with these growers who can do it at scale, who have a lot of uniformity, who've been doing it longer, who might have other advantages, whatever. We all have unfair advantages. But as I have a small subset of the audience who's interested in growing hops on a small scale, and because I struggle with this myself, I wanted to create this video series. So with 1 acre, there's a bunch of small different hop harvesters out there. There's some DIY models that you can build yourself. There's about a $25,000, I'm sorry if I misquote the price, but like hopharvester.com. If you Google and research on the internet's small scale hop harvesters, you'll see a few different like PTO driven styles of machine. And then there's the Wolf harvester that people get over from Germany. A friend of mine has one that's like 2 stories tall, that's huge, like $50,000 plus, depending on which one you get and how good a condition it is. Plus you have to know all the machinery and how to fix it, and you have to get custom parts, and it's wired for European wiring and not US wiring, so some of the motors have to be redone. But then you can take one of these hop bines. So all these harvesters, what they do, you cut the hop bine about here, which is about 3-4 feet off the ground. You want to leave some green on it so that it'll put some energy back in the ground for the winter. And then you cut them at the top, and what you're left with is, if you're cutting 4 feet off an 18-foot high thing, you have 14 feet of plant that you have leaves and cones, and what you want to get is these cones off of the plant and leave the rest of it chopped up and compostable later on. And what they do is you clip the top of the plant on, and it's got these little fingers that rake everything off, and then through a series of fans and conveyors, it makes it so that these the hops are sorted out, and you get your harvested hops, and then you get your chaff, your wasted plant. On a small scale level, we do a lot of hand picking. If I did it all myself, I would be here for the next 3 years. But instead, we have a yearly festival. We have our Hop Harvest Festival, where I have 130 to 150 people come out. We do a pig roast. We have an event with a chef, a collaborating brewer. Our collaboration brewery this year is Allagash Brewing Company. And our chef is local in town, Joel Veland. He's super talented and like this food is just really good. We have all those people come out and we cut down the hop vines, put them in the shade, and we pick flowers, drink beer, and listen to music in the shade on a Sunday afternoon. And the majority of our harvest is brought in then. Now I dry some of it, age some of it, and then the rest of it that is used in a fresh hop beer that we're brewing a batch of beer during that harvest day, so that when we bring in the fresh hop harvest, we can give it to the brewers and they'll put it right into a beer, and then we age that beer and we release it the next year at the next year's hop harvest. And it was Tiny House was the brand, and we're switching the brand over to Campland. So I'm on Camps Road Farm on Camps Road, owned by the Camps family traditionally, and they all called my whole neighborhood Campland, and we're bringing that back. So we have that yearly festival where I have 150 people come out and hand pick it for my 1 acre hop yard. We get it about a third to a half done in that day, and the rest of it I network with local growers to help them out in any way that I can, so that I can bring my hop vines over to their harvesters, have them harvest it for me, and I walk out with bags of hops. So what I want to know is what other hop growers are doing for their hop harvest. This is one of the things that I struggle with, that I have to have a yearly festival and have all these people come out to hand harvest it, or I have to invest $20,000 to $50,000 in a harvester for potentially grossing 13 grand worth of product that I'm going to use in my brewery. So amortizing that equipment out over time is a little bit more difficult at a smaller scale. Makes more sense if you're hitting the 5, 10, 15, 30 acre mark to definitely get a mechanical harvester. But yeah, on a small scale, what do you do? So that is as far as I got on this video. Those are my information. That hop harvest day is coming up Sunday of Labor Day weekend here on the farm, and we have it the Sunday of Labor Day weekend every single year. We have a live bluegrass band come in, and it is a culmination of all the things that I set out to do when I got into farming, is that we get to have all these people seeing that beer is incidental to agriculture, that they are tied and they are one and the same, that in order to have beer or eat and drink anything, it has to come from a farm, and there's hard work involved in that. But we also source all of our food locally, so we get to feed people with the stuff that we produce and have people drink the beer that we are making, and it is just a beautiful, wonderful day. That's it. This is the last day of this series. I'm not going to talk about hops again for a while until I do a recap of how the harvest went this year, and just do a catch up on what I did in the hop yard this year, and how I think it went, and what I would change for next year, and what the plan is going forward. If you have any questions from this week, you can leave them on all the videos individually. I'm going to save those questions and answer them later in the year. But really, that's it for today. That's it for my videos, and until next time, I'll see you out in the field.